Welcome to this deep exploration of one of the most profound symbolic teachings in Zen Buddhism, the 10 ox-herding pictures. This ancient series of images and verses illustrates the stages of spiritual development and awakening. It is a poetic and visual guide to the journey of self-realization, from the first stirrings of dissatisfaction with worldly life to the return into it with compassion and clarity. Each of the 10 stages is a metaphor for a shift in consciousness and can also be viewed through the lens of Jungian psychology, where the ox becomes a symbol of the self and the herder represents the ego seeking wholeness. The first stage is searching for the ox. In this opening scene, the seeker feels lost and empty. The world seems chaotic, and something feels deeply missing. This is the beginning of the spiritual journey, the awakening of longing, the realization that the life we've been living lacks depth or meaning. The practitioner may not even know what they're searching for, only that something must change. It mirrors the psychological moment of existential crisis or the call to individuation, when the ego begins to suspect there is something beyond its current grasp. In the second picture, seeing the traces, the seeker discovers signs of the ox, footprints, broken branches, traces in the mud. These represent glimpses of insight, moments of intuitive clarity, philosophical ideas, or spiritual teachings that hint at a deeper reality. There's still no direct experience, but hope arises. The seeker starts to read, meditate, ask questions, or follow a teacher. In psychological terms, this is the beginning of symbolic engagement with the unconscious, often experienced through dreams, synchronicities, or a sense of being drawn towards something ineffable. The third stage is seeing the ox. The practitioner suddenly catches sight of the ox in the forest. It may be fleeting, but the first real encounter has occurred. This is the experience of momentary awakening, perhaps in meditation, in nature, or during a crisis, that reveals the true nature of mind, if only briefly. It is the first sight of one's Buddha nature, or the self. Here, the divide between seeker and sought begins to dissolve. Yet the ox still moves freely. It cannot be held. The ego recognizes a deeper presence but cannot yet stabilize it. In the fourth image, catching the ox, the herder engages in a struggle. The ox is wild and stubborn, representing the restless, conditioned mind that resists discipline. This is the difficult work of practice, of facing the chaos of thought, emotion, and ego patterns. Meditation becomes a battle with distraction. Old identities cling to power, yet the practitioner persists. The rope symbolizes mindfulness or awareness. It's the tool that begins to draw the wild ox toward stillness. Jung might interpret this stage as the ego beginning to confront and attempt to integrate the shadow aspects of the psyche. The fifth picture, taming the ox, shows a turning point. The ox, though still strong, begins to follow the herder. There is harmony developing between the conscious mind and the deeper self. Discipline bears fruit. The practitioner finds calm and balance. Meditation deepens. Awareness expands. The chaos of earlier stages gives way to clarity. This is psychological integration, the development of inner coherence and the emergence of self-regulation. The ox is still present, but now it walks beside the herder. In the sixth image, riding the ox home, joy arises. The practitioner plays the flute, seated on the back of the ox. There is peace, unity, and the taste of liberation. The struggle has ended, and now the practitioner and ox move together in rhythm. The mind is calm, but more than that, the sense of separation is fading. This reflects the beginning of non-duality. The practitioner no longer sees the mind as something to control, but as part of a larger wholeness. There is deep gratitude. In Jungian terms, this is the point at which ego and self have achieved a working relationship, and the psyche functions with integrity. Then comes the seventh picture, ox forgotten, self alone. The ox disappears. Only the herder remains at peace. This is the transcendence of the duality between seeker and sought. The ox, once the symbol of truth, is no longer needed. There is just presence. The idea of enlightenment fades. There is no longer anything to achieve. Being is enough. The practitioner abides in their true nature. From a psychological perspective, this is the dissolution of the ego's striving. The individual rests in pure awareness. There is no need to define, grasp, or become. The eighth stage is both ox and self-forgotten. Even the self dissolves. There is no herder, no ox, no path, no destination. All concepts fall away. This is the experience of emptiness, or sunyata. It is the full realization of non-duality. There is nothing to attain because everything already is. Language fails here. The mind cannot grasp it. It can only be lived. This is the heart of Zen, the total surrender of identity. Jung might describe it as the transcendence of opposites, the place where all tensions are resolved in silence. The ninth picture is returning to the source. A circle in the void. The practitioner, having realized emptiness, now sees the world with fresh eyes. There is beauty in the ordinary. Water flows, birds sing, and all things are exactly as they should be. There is no longer a need to escape the world. The practitioner returns to the simplicity of life, not from ignorance, but from wisdom. The path has led them back to the beginning, but everything is transformed. This is the return of the alchemical. Gold, the essence of being recovered and reintegrated into form. Finally, the 10th picture, entering the marketplace with open hands. The practitioner returns to the world, clothed in rags, barefoot, laughing. They are indistinguishable from ordinary people, yet everything they do radiates compassion, peace, and presence. They live without attachment, fully engaged in life, yet untouched by it. They serve others not as saints, but as human beings fully alive. This is the goal of the journey, not escape, but return. Not transcendence alone, but integration. The practitioner becomes a healer, a teacher, a friend, not by preaching, but by being. The journey is complete, and the world is their home. These 10 pictures are more than images. They are a map of awakening, a mirror of the soul, and a path for anyone seeking depth, truth, and peace. Whether viewed as a Buddhist teaching, a psychological process, or a universal myth, the ox-herding pictures remind us that the true path does not end in transcendence, but in return, in the willingness to live fully, openly, and compassionately in the world. Thank you for watching. If this exploration spoke to you, please like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments which stage you most resonate with. Until next time, continue your journey with sincerity and openness.